Okay, so this is Steve from the back. If you've been watching my videos now, you know that sometimes I like to create concept art. You know that I like to create concepts. You know that I have a a like for mech anime type of things, and you know that I have a like for monster based type of anime and or cryptid or extraterrestrial type of art and anime, in whatever type of form it is. So that's obvious. But you also know on this channel that sometimes I like to do rants that talk about ideas that I would like to see in anime, and often I'll show my take, like the way I draw, my take on how I would want certain characters to be drawn, or how I would want certain concepts to be, especially mech type of concepts with robots, which honestly I think my idea of that kind of just turns the whole thing on its head, honestly. Because I will often talk about how I would want to see a mech type of anime, but I also say that I'd want like vampire characters and monster type of characters piloting these mechs, and it's not just some run-of-the-mill boring ass Japanese dude with wild hair or something piloting these mechs, because that's just boring. I'm sorry, but whatever, I have my own opinion. So my concept that I've been coming up with is like, not that every character has to be vampiric, but just more like monster based, more sort of gothic looking type of characters, and even some more like sort of like BDSM type of dark looking pale characters. You know what I mean? Like these characters are supposed to look creepy, these characters are supposed to look freaky, they're supposed to look like monsters. They're not supposed to be like just your, like I said, run-of-the-mill, wild hair, Hero Yui, however you say it, Gundam pilot, cliche Gundam pilot looking person. They're not really supposed to look like that at all. In all honesty, I would say in the mechs themselves, obviously some mechs I would like to make concepts that do resemble your sort of classic mechanical, very mech, but then also I'd like to sort of experiment with more like mechs that look more organic and look more biomechanical and look more like monsters themselves, that have more of a sort of monster appeal, have more of like a sort of guttural, fleshy sort of appeal to them. And kind of like when you open up these cockpits, a lot of these cockpits would be like more fleshy, you know what I mean? Like more soft, fleshy type of environments. And for these mechs not to necessarily generally be so super huge either. I mean, I kind of look at it more like these type of mechs are more along the lines of an exoskeleton in a functioning body armor that is also a living body armor that has a symbiotic relationship with its host and pilot. Not really like the classic mech that like a Gundam or something that you'd be thinking of. So, just with that being said, I figure I'll keep this rant really short. Just talk about some ideas that I have, show some of the type of concepts that I came up with. And I also want to say that I don't know what it is, but I kind of have a like for having like gems or stones or things that you would look like a gem or a stone on these mechs, So maybe like a certain type of color could pertain to a certain type of stone, you know what I mean? Like it could be a earth stone, it could be a fire stone, it could be a water stone, you know, and with a specific color that kind of corresponds, like almost like a theme. Like some could have maybe big red stones on them, or lights. I don't know. I kind of think like a stone and a light kind of look almost the same, and a stone could glow, a light could glow. You kind of get what I'm saying. So I'm just giving you these ideas. These are just ideas that I'm just sharing with, and certain things that I think of. That, like, obviously I would like to see someone that is actually making, you know, an anime, like, take their mech ideas in that sort of direction. Like, for me, this is the type of stuff that I would like to see in anime, but I just really don't see things like this. I also was going to say that now, in my mind, if I was a person making a mech anime, I would not make the combat the cookie cutter Gundam-esque shoot 'em up stuff that you normally see, with the stupid cliche anime tropes in there that we all get tired of. No, this combat would have to be tight. This combat would have to be very practical, very realistic. Like, these things are going to have to fight like real people. Like, when they actually get in a grappling range, they're going to actually really grapple. You know, they're not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one's going to, like, punch a character so hard that they fly several feet away because simply they just got punched. You know, that makes no sense. It's like, if you get punched in the face, you generally have some drawback, in your body rocks, and there's a little bit of change in your stance. You may even roll with this punch to compensate for the force, you know, so you're literally rolling with it, and then you continue fighting at the same time. That's how real fights are. Real fights are not like, I'm sorry, but I just have to say, I would love to see anime move in the more realistic direction, and not all this crazy, wild, classic tropes that I see so much in anime that I feel like, it's like, if you have the ability to animate, like, you know, there's so much more that you could actually do with animation. I'll use Real Drive as a good example of how Real Drive obviously has some stuff in it that's completely fake, but it more so is along the basis of leaning towards at least very much more real combat than you normally see in anime, and that's the type of stuff I would like to see in a mech anime, is where these robots, you know, it's like if you have shields and swords and guns and stuff, you know, you would think that you would use them more realistically, you know, like when you get into a bind up close, you know, you have your sword and your shield, you would think that grappling would automatically come into play, and there would be, you know, people trying to use momentum against each other and trying to disarm each other simultaneously. You'd be trying to retain your weapon, or you'd be trying to find a way to bind up your enemy, immobilize them, bring them to the ground, and find a way to get your weapon ready so you could either shoot from afar if there's an oncoming target, or maybe you try to unload something into that person that is down. It's like, you would think it would be more realistic. Well, I'm just saying, you know, you would think scuffles and scraps would be realistic, but I guess no. I know anime is fake, but at least there could be some realism to it. I'm just one of those people where a lot of times I just can't even, like, I can't, what's the word? Anime doesn't hold my attention because it's so fake, because the combat is just so, it's just so, like, mind-numbingly dumb that it doesn't interest me a lot. So I didn't want to make this any type of bashing type of rant. I've already bashed on so many people with so many different type of rants lately that I'm just sick of negativity, so I don't even want to really go there, but I had to go there, and I went there before, so I'm cutting the rant short. This is Steve's Art and Fun channel. I appreciate every view, every subscriber, every like, and comment, and You know, hopefully you got some ideas from this, or gained some type of insight, or had some type of inspiration of your own. And have a nice day.